Hello, Captains. It's the Doctor. It's another day and another fleet holding tour. So, in the last video, we looked at the embassy. That's the fleet embassy on Klingons, Federation, or Romulans can all visit the same embassy. In the embassy, that's where you go to get your weapon signature nullifiers, kit frames, modules, Romulan bridge officers. A very cool area. Before that, of course, we did the fleet starbase, where you get your ship shields, ship weapons, deflectors, impulse engines, ground weapons, personal shields, elite carrier pets. So those are very cool, and now it's time for the next fleet holding that was released after the embassy, all the way in June 2013. The Dilithium Mine came to Star Trek Online. So this would be the third fleet holding to come to Star Trek Online. So I'll bring it up here. Here it is, Dilithium Mine. Similar to the embassy, it is only goes up to tier 3. So far, only the starbase has gone up to tier 5. Everything else since has only gone up to tier 3 in leveling. You've got 1, 2, and 3 tiers for the Dilithium Mine, 1, 2, and 3 tiers for the trade, and 1, 2, and 3 tiers for the development tier. Now, what's interesting about the Dilithium Mine is it not only allows you to buy some very cool gear, but it also gives you a discount on dilithium purchased items from the Dilithium Mine and also from the Dilithium store. So check this out. As you progress into Tier 1 of the Dilithium Mine, the Fleet Project Dilithium discount is a 4% discount. The Dilithium store discount is a 4% discount. At Tier 2, the Fleet Project Dilithium discount 2 is a 5% discount, and it stacks with Fleet Project Dilithium discount 1. And then the Dilithium store discount is a 5% discount, and it stacks with Dilithium store discount 1. And then at tier 3, it is now a 6% discount. Stacks with Fleet Project Dilithium discount 1 and 2, and Dilithium store discount 3, 6% discount, stacks with Dilithium store discount 1 and 2. What this means is reduced cost for you in the fleet projects when you purchase items in any of the fleet holdings, not just not just the Dilithium Mine, but any of the fleet projects, any of the fleet star bases that you want to purchase items from will now have a reduced dilithium cost with a maximized dilithium mine. You will also have a reduced dilithium cost in the dilithium store itself. So like these items, if you compare my dilithium numbers to yours, for example, if you don't have a dilithium mine or you're not in a fleet, your dilithium numbers here should be a little bit higher than mine because I'm receiving a discount on these items because we have a maxed out fleet dilithium mine. So it does help to have a maxed out fleet dilithium mine in this game. You're going to have a cheaper dilithium cost because of that. So that's important just for that alone. But then, of course, the dilithium mine itself has a ton of good items for you guys, for everybody. So some of the key things that we can purchase there is fleet warp cores and fleet singularity cores. This is where you can get some really nice warp cores or singularity cores for your starship. You can also get advanced engineering armor consoles and advanced engineering RCS consoles. Now, it is true that the Spire, Fleet Spire, also has warp cores. However, that came out after the Dilithium Mine, and it offers a different type of warp core called a plasma integrated warp core. But before that came out, that didn't come out until November 2013. So before that came out, here in June 2013, with the Dilithium Mine, this was the best warp cores you could get. And they still are top-notch warp cores. They still have very appealing modifiers and all that. And I'm not sure on the cost, but they might be slightly cheaper than these Spire plasma integrated warp cores. We will compare them and find out. So let's go straight there. To get to the Dilithium Mine, this one's a little bit farther. We're going to have to go to the Alpha Quadrant, because this thing is by Bajor at DS9. So I'm just going to warp out here to sector space. And then we're going to flip around and head over to the Alpha Quadrants. And again, you can transwarp to the Dilithium Mine. Fleet Research, let's see, Fleet Starbase, Sherman, Soul, Spheres, Fleet, maybe you cannot. I could have swore you could. But you can transwarp close to it if you can transwarp to DS9. That's pretty much all you need to get to in order to get to it. Because, as you'll see, it is here in the Bajor sector. You've got Deep Space Nine, Bajor, of course, right beside it, and right up here is your Dilithium Mine fleet holding. So that's where it's located. So what I used the Dilithium Mine for when it became available, and what I continue to use it for, is it is a good resource for warp cores, or if you're on a Romulan faction, a singularity core. This is where you can get really good non-reputation based cores, obviously. And then this is also where you can get those enhanced neutronium things that have resistance, or Rcs Accelerators. So let me show you how all that works. So here's a Dilithium Mine system here. We can go into it. And apparently it's going to load slowly for me, because that's what it has decided to do today. There we go. Finally, we've got it loaded. As we fly in, you'll find that it's actually very cool looking. We've got this big planet here, a lot of asteroids and things that are literally being mined for dilithium. This is a dilithium mining area, but we want to beam on to the station itself, so we're just going to contact traffic control, beam to surface, and we will now be at our Fleet Dilithium Mine. This is it. This is the Fleet Dilithium Mine. It's actually pretty small, so you won't get lost here. Everything's kind of in the same area. It's not as big as an embassy or a starbase. It is very confined, very small, as you can see, but that means that everything is easy to find as well. Basically, just walk around in a circle and you will find everything. So let's start with the cool thing that I told you guys about, the warp cores. What you want to do is find the warp core guy. Where are you, warp core person? I think I passed it when we came in. Probably this person right here. Yes, here we go. Requisition warp cores. So this is one reason why you would want to come to a dilithium mine. And we go to store, and you will find, just like the Fleet Starbase, there are advanced versions of these items and elite versions of these items. The advanced ones, there's a lot more options under advanced, and there's fewer options. Actually, take that back, there's more options under elite. You know, what makes the advanced or elite is basically it all comes down to the modifiers. So, okay, what you have here are the different types of warp cores. Advanced Fleet Reinforced Warp Core. You've got your hypercharged warp core, reinforced, hypercharged. Basically, that's the only type here: hypercharged or reinforced. Under elite fleet, you have reinforced and hypercharged as well. Reinforced, hypercharged. So those are the two types that you would have here. So a reinforced warp core increases maximum shield and auxiliary power by 5 and provides an efficiency bonus to both pools. A hypercharged warp core increases your aux and engine power by 5 and provides an efficiency bonus to both pools. So one is aux and engine, and the other one is the shield and aux. So they both do aux. So basically one is shield and one is engine. And you've got to decide, where you want more power in. That's for the advanced. The elite, probably the same. Let's see. Reinforced. Yep, shield and aux by 5. And then hypercharged is aux and engine by 5. So those are the same between a hypercharged or a reinforced warp core. Then everything else pretty much just comes down to the modifiers, right? So when you look at these, for example, like these two reinforced ones up here, you've got auxiliary to shield. That means it's going to take some of your auxiliary power and amplify your shield power based on your auxiliary power. Shield cap, SEP, and SST. And what you can do is just hover over these and you can see what each one does. So like this one is plus 7.5 additional shield power, additional aux power, maximum shield power, maximum aux power, maximum warp factor 10, bonus engine power, adds 7.5% of your aux power to your shield power, is a shield power buff. And you just go through on and on. This is weapons cap. It's going to increase your weapons, your weapon power buff basically. And you just go on and on and on and see. This one's got a battery on it. So many different flavors here. I mean, I could sit here forever and go over all of these, and I'm not really going to do that. So just know that there's a ton of different warp cores, and what works best for you is going to be based on your build. What you want to put power into is going to be based on your build. So I can't really say that one of these is like, the one you should get. It really is going to depend on your build. However, what you do want to look for are ones with amp on them if you can. So I don't know if the advanced ones have amp at all. No, they don't. So that's one difference. The advanced fleet cores do not have amp, but the elite fleet cores, they do have amp as an option. So I would go looking at the elite fleet ones and then look for ones that have amp on it. What is amp, you say? Well, that is plus 3.3% all damage per subsystem with 75 or more power. Basically, it's going to give you more damage. If you're a DPSer, you're looking for DPS, you're looking for doing damage to enemies, you want to increase your DPS, you want a warp core with amp. So if there's one thing I can suggest, out of all these modifiers, look for one that has amp on it, and then, narrow it down from there. Kind of see which ones all have amp on them, because not all of them do, and then weed it down from there. Where would you like your power to go, for example? Auxiliary to weapons, that would be a good one. That would be a good thing, not bad. It's also not bad to have power to auxiliary, because you can use auxiliary power to increase critical chance and critical severity. There's actually a console out there that will increase your critical chance and critical severity based on your auxiliary power. So something like shield to aux, or if you have a high weapon to aux, can actually help you with a greater critical severity and that type of thing. So you've just got to kind of figure out what your build is and what you want to put power into. But I would definitely say look for one with amp. But this just goes to show you what's here. As you can see, a ton of really good warp cores. If you want some of the best warp cores in the game, the Dilithium Mine is where you want to start looking. As you can see, the elite ones are more expensive than the advanced. 14,000 for the elite for fleet credits, 12,750 dilithium here. The advanced are 10,000 and then 8,500. So yes, a little bit more expensive for the elite, but not a lot. And if I recall correctly, the Spire ones are a lot more expensive. I think they start at like 100,000 fleet credits, if I'm not mistaken. I will double check that, of course, when we go look at the Spire in the next video. But pretty sure they are that high. So a big difference between the Spire warp cores and the Dilithium Mine warp cores in terms of you know, being able to afford one. This is going to be your cheaper option, and probably one you can pick up quite easily first before you have, you know, like 100,000 fleet credits to spend on a Spire one. So I would start here with the Dilithium Mine and look at getting yourself a good warp core. A good warp core can really help your ship very well. Now, of course, if you are a Romulan, then you don't do warp cores, you do singularity cores. But this is basically the same thing. You've got advanced fleet singularity cores and elite fleet reinforced or hypercharged or hyperstabilizing singularity cores. So obviously singularity cores work just a little bit differently. So fleet reinforced singularity core is going to increase your ox and shield levels by +5. The hypercharged is going to increase ox and engine power by +5. And the hyper stabilizing is going to increase your engine and shield power levels by +5. So just decide, you know, where you want your power to go there, and then of course again look at the modifiers. Look at the modifiers, because that's what you want to look at. Now with singularity cores, you're going to have different modifiers than you would have with warp cores, because you have things like Sing A is going to do singularity type stuff like singularity charge rate and that type of stuff. That's going to deal with your singularity powers that you have on Romulan ships. So you want to look for stuff like that and just kind of compare everything. There's just so many options here, really. I wish they would organize it a little bit better, because it is a little confusing, especially for people that are new to these things and they're like just overwhelmed with how many modifiers there are. But really all you got to do is just hover over it and kind of use your brain. You can kind of figure out what modifier matches what setting in the description. For example, when I'm hovering over this, I can look at the +5 to 12 shield powers based on your singularity charge level, +5 ox power. We know that that's because it's a reinforced singularity core. Reduces the cooldown time on singularity power, so that's probably something up there. I'm not extremely familiar with the singularity cores myself. I've got one Romulan character, and I haven't really spent the time I need to on him. But just read the descriptions here and see if that's what you like or not. I mean, that's really the best way to just figure that out. And I don't think that singularity cores, no, they do have amp. I was going to say they don't have amp, but actually they do have amp. So yeah, so singularity cores do have amp as well. So look for that. That's going to be an important thing. But that's what you can get here at the Dilithium Mine. Just a ton of good warp cores or singularity cores for your ship. It's a huge resource for that. A lot of options. I know it's confusing. If you're confused on those modifiers and what they do or what is best for your ship, ask. Just ask. You know, ask in the zone chat, ask people that you know these kinds of things, and just ask around and get a lot of opinions. Don't just take the first opinion given to you. You know, gather a lot of opinions and then kind of figure it out for yourself. Or trial and error. That never hurt anybody. I've learned a lot in this game by trial and error. Trying one warp core and like, well, that's not doing what I want it to do. Let me try this other warp core. Yeah, you waste some resources doing that, but That's how you learn. Trial and error. Okay, so that's like the big thing here. There's another thing here to purchase. Let me find the dealer. Here it is over here. This is where you're going to get some consoles, some good consoles, engineering consoles. You've got basically a neutronium console, which is going to give you a resistance. You know, it gives that kinetic and all energy damage resistance on your ship, and then it has like other modifiers attached to it. For example, EPS will give you plus 18.8% power transfer rate. Well, let's look at the Mark 12. They have 10, 11, 12 here. So a Mark 12 one would give you 21.2% power transfer rate in addition to a kinetic and all energy damage resistance. So that's basically enhanced neutronium alloy with EPS. And then you have enhanced neutronium alloy with HP. This one increases hull capacity, increases starship maximum hit points. That is your health or your hull capacity. So you have that plus 21.2 kinetic and all energy damage resistance in addition to an increased hull capacity for your ship. Or here's one with turn on it. Basically, you get that same resistance and now a 21.2% flight turn rate in addition to that. So it's like having basically just two or three abilities in one console. You've got resistance to kinetic and all energy damage, and then you have the modifier that goes with it. So that one's turn, and then this one is hull heal. This improves starship hull restoration. So these have been very common to use as well. Now, a lot of people will argue that resistance is not doesn't make a big difference in this game, and that is potentially true. Now, if you stacked these, it would help a whole lot more, but you do get diminishing returns with stacking. But it still doesn't hurt to have one of these, especially if you look at one of these modifiers like turn or hull heal or HP or EPS, power transfer rate. For example, you could probably get rid of a dedicated EPS power transfer rate console and instead supplement it with this, and you get two things out of one. You get increased power transfer rate, but then you also get a resistance to all energy damage and kinetic damage. So you can see how these will be useful. And they are kind of pricey on the Mark 12s. 50,000 fleet credits for the Mark 12, 8,500 dilithium. But the Mark 10 is only 12,500, and these are upgradable to Mark 14 Epic. So you can take them all the way to 14 Epic. Then you have what's called the Resist Kinetic. These are basically monotonium alloys dedicated to simple kinetic damage resistance, no all energy, just kinetic. And then they have those same modifiers attached to them, EPS for an increased power transfer rate, or HP for your hit points, or turn for your turn rate, and hull heal. And that's just a very large kinetic damage resistance, basically, with that modifier. And then you have in the Rcs Accelerators. These are based on turn rate. The RCS is the 37.5% flight turn rate. And then you add the modifier to it, HP for an increased hull capacity. Res Kin is kinetic damage resistance, so you get a flight turn rate and a kinetic resistance rating. Or Resol is a kinetic and all energy damage resistance rating and a big flight turn rate. But the kinetic and all energy resistance is minor. Plus 10 is not going to do anything for you, to be honest with you. On a starship, if you really want to get the resist working, you need to have like 40 to 50 resist. So a 10 is going to do nothing really, honestly. But these consoles are there if you want to choose that. So you have basically the neutronium, which is the kinetic and all energy damage resistance rating. It's going to have a higher kinetic and all energy damage resistance rating out of all of them. That's plus 21 with Mark 12. And then the modifier EPS, HP, turn, or hull heal. Or you have the monotonium, which is going to be a large kinetic only resistance and then the modifier with it, EPS, HP, turn, hull heal, or an RCS Accelerator, which is going to be a large flight turn rate, plus 42.5% Mark 12, and then the modifier that goes with it. You can have increased HP, Reskin, which is resistance to kinetic damage, or resistance to all, which is kinetic and all energy, but it's not going to be as high as if you had the neutronium, which has a higher resist all. Does that make sense? But that's what's there. So those are not terrible consoles, but the resist all stuff, yeah, it's really not that great. A lot of people prefer to resist damage in other ways, rather than just having a very large resistance on the ships. However, if you're building a tank, I mean, it certainly cannot hurt, right? It can't hurt, but you will be losing consoles if you want to stack a lot of these. So, you know, it's a thing. If you are an escort, it actually could help a little bit, but like I said, you would need a lot of resistance to make a lot of difference, which means stacking consoles, and then you just lose out on potential for other consoles that could do other things. You might instead want to beef up, use your traits, use DOFs, use traits, use your space traits or your reputation traits to give you better resistance and damage and stuff like that with like an escort. Probably want to use that stuff instead. But you know, these could help too because they have more than one ability associated with them. So those are the two big things that you would want to come to a dilithium mine for, is the warp cores, the singularity cores, and then those engineering consoles. Some of that can definitely help you. Now there is also a tailor here, and similar to the other star bases, there's a store where you can buy a unique outfit. You can only get this from a dilithium mine. It's called the miner outfit. It comes with miner goggles, a vest, a shirt, long and short, gloves, gauntlets, a belt, pants, hip guards, and boots. It's a full-on uniform to put on as if you are a dilithium miner. So there's the cost of it, 8,000 fleet credits, 13,600, 8,000 fleet credits, and then 13,600 dilithium. It's got the numbers reversed for some reason. But that's it. This is the only place you can get it. It's the miner outfit. I don't know if I have the... Yep, I do have it. So here we go. This is what it looks like. It's a bit purple in here, but maybe you can see it. There's a good view. You turn the HUD off. That is the miner uniform. It's got the goggles, gloves, the shirt, the pants. You can wear this anywhere you want in battle or whatever and look like a dilithium miner. That is it. That's what it looks like. So it's just another costume choice. Like I said, all of these fleet holdings have unique costumes associated with them, so that's a pretty cool thing about them. So you can look like the appropriate attire for whatever area you're in. What else is around here? We've got the turn the HUD back on. We've got the exchange here. We have mail. We have your bank. So all of that is accessible here naturally. Here was the warp cores, and then I guess she doesn't sell anything. Over here we have duty officer stuff, duty officer assignments, similar to other, fleet holdings. Duty officers are a big thing. Mine mother loads of valuable minerals, mine dilithium mother loads. Now this is interesting. This is, again, you can only get this from the dilithium mine, but you can get an additional refining capacity of 500 ore through the dilithium mine fleet holding here. So this means, you know how you have like 8,000 capacity for one day that you can mine? like here, refined dilithium, and you're limited to like 8,000 a day or whatever it is, based on, you know, if you're a free to play player, it might be different. But you know, you are limited to how much you can refine. I think everybody's pretty much at 8,000 they can refine. Well, this allows you to just slightly go over that for the day. It's, I think, a duty officer assignment, simple as that. It requires 500 dilithium ore, which I actually just refined, and it gives you refined dilithium. So yeah, I don't have the ore right now to do it, but let's say you had, you know, ore in there to do it, you could get a 500 dilithium extension, so literally like 8,500 a day. It's not much, but it's something you can only do here from the dilithium mine. So it's something, it's not a lot, but it's there. People do use it to refine more dilithium every day. And then, of course, other duty officer missions from this person as well. And then up here, you've got duty officers you can requisition. We've got hordas that are miners that you can use. I actually have never gotten any of these before. They can cost quite a bit. You've got Yidrin miners. So if you need miners, you've got Yidrin miners, and you've got Ferengi miners. So Ferengi, Yidrin, and Horda miners that you can purchase here to do duty officer missions with. So if you're into duty officer missions, obviously the dilithium area is another good place for that. You can kind of see out. You can actually go in here. Okay, I don't think there's anything down here. I'm actually held because I'm dying, because I think you need to have an environmental suit, and I don't have. I just completely did that. Yeah. Okay, well, now I'm stuck and I'm going to die. So that's just great. I don't think I have. I don't have an environmental suit I can put on, do I? Maybe I do. That doesn't work. Or maybe it does. Hold on. No. Well, I'm gonna die. That was stupid. Anyway, out here, there is dilithium stuff to do out there. Let's not do that again.
Enemy targets on sensors.
What armor did I have on? That's what I had on. Out there is stuff to do. I've actually never done it, but I guess if you wanted to, you know, do the stuff out there, I'm not going to go out there again, but there's navigation points out there. It's a whole like dilithium gain. It's where you can get dilithium if you need it. Probably talk to this person here and do it. Yeah. Mine impure dilithium crystals daily. Mine rich dilithium. Mine pure dilithium crystals daily. See, I'm the miner shift manager. It's my job to keep track of which crystals everyone's mining. Over mining could deplete the mine quickly. We need to balance what we take with the time needed for maximum crystal growth. Okay. Dilithium in its native ultra-pure form is pink, and ultra-pure dilithium is the easiest to refine once it's mined. Gold crystals are purified but still have a small amount of impurities, mostly nitrogen. Fracturing of the crystals allows boron atoms to be incorporated into the crystal mix, giving the lithium a bluish color, whereas exposure to radioactive materials can result in a flawed greenish crystal. Fractured and flawed dilithium crystals are still useful but require special refining techniques to process. So these are activities you can do. Mine 5 purified or ultra pure dilithium crystals. Mine rich dilithium crystals, and then mine impure dilithium crystals. So these are dailies you can do to basically earn dilithium. It's pretty much that simple. Like I said, I have never actually done the activity. But this is something you could come here and certainly do if you need to earn a lot of dilithium. So that is there to do as well. What else is around here? We talked to you, we talked to you. I think that's like pretty much it. I think we can go downstairs or to this, or upstairs. Second floor up here. I don't think there's anything up here though. Yeah, it's just for looks, which looks pretty cool, but yeah, there's really nothing to do up here. It might be part of those dailies though. You might have to come up here to do stuff for the dailies. Not sure. Yeah, we're just above all that right now. It looks cool anyway. Lets you know that this is not just a small little station. There's some space here for your fleet dilithium mining. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the dilithium mine. You can come here and actually do mining and enjoy that if you like, or you can get some fleet warp cores or some engineering consoles or a miner outfit. And that's pretty much it. That's the dilithium mine. Pretty simple. I'll switch over now to the Klingon side, and we'll just take a look at it from a Klingon perspective. It's really the same, but let me just do that real quick. And I've already taken the liberty of flying this character over here to the fleet dilithium mine, so that we don't have to wait, and I can just enter the mine and we can beam right down as a Klingon. Contact traffic control, beam to surface. And it's pretty much the same except a little redder in color, and the flags are all Klingon. Everything is the same. And you should have access to both singularity cores and warp cores, because of course you can fly as a Romulan on the Klingon side. So you pretty much have the same stuff. Nothing really different there. All the same stuff. And same duty officer stuff as well. Additional mining refining capacity is the same. Requisition to duty officers, same. We've got Horda, Yidrin, and Ferengi on this side as well. They're all the same. The same dailies you can do out there. And we've got the Tailor here, and it is also the same miner outfit, nothing different, the exact same. And you have the consoles, which are also exactly the same, the neutronium, the monotanium, and the RCS. So pretty much everything is exactly the same on the Klingon side. It's all here for both factions, or all three factions. The Romulans can also come here as well, no matter who you're aligned with. Neither faction has an advantage. They have all the same available stuff here from the dilithium mine. So that's what you get here, guys. Warp cores, the engineering consoles, and dilithium dailies, and duty officer stuff, and the extra 500 refinement as well. That is what is available in a dilithium mine fleet holding. Well, thank you all for watching this tour. Hope you have gotten something out of that. The next one we will dive into is the Fleet Spire. That is quite interesting. That one has some very cool stuff you don't want to miss. So please stand by. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.